Hello everyone and welcome to Dungeon Delvers. My name's Karen Blend and today I'll be talking about Dungeons & Dragons' newest release book, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. This book is an incredible story of how a group of friends got together and started playing Dungeons & Dragons 5 years ago, and soon became a Dungeons & Dragons phenomenon. Critical Role started out as a bunch of nerdy voice actors playing Dungeons & Dragons and soon became one of the most watched D&D streams on all of Twitch. The Dungeon Master being Matthew Mercer, and now his world has become a canonical world in the universe of Dungeons & Dragons. And this is actually kind of a big deal. This is the first world that was made outside of Wizards of the Coast office since Eberron, and that was made so many years ago. Wildemount is beautiful land that takes tons of inspiration from real-world cultures, from feudal Japan to an old English-style town. And this world also has drow that can live above ground, even though their past is still based on the fact that they evolved underground. Additionally, the drow aren't outright hated, so that means they can be seen in public and not immediately attacked by the guards. And perhaps my favorite part about this book is that there is an entire part of the continent where undead are an entire race. And I'm not talking about zombies or vampires or anything like that. I'm talking about the newest race, the Hallowed Ones. These creatures awaken one day as an accursed undead, missing their soul entirely and unsure as to what brought them back to life. And they have an empty feeling deep in their stomach. Could it be missing memories, like guilt weighing them down from their past life? That's for you and your dungeon master to figure out. Now, keep in mind this is a supernatural gift given to you by your dungeon master. So even if you don't start as one, you might become one. Additionally, we get 3 new subclasses. 1 for the fighter, and 2 for the wizard. For fighters, we get the Echo Knights. Knights who tap into other timelines to pluck alternative versions of themselves to fight alongside themselves. So, instead of having 1 fighter to deal with, you have 2. And at higher levels, you'll even have 3. So, fighters surround your enemies and just do a quick back and forth between the 2 of you. Then we get to the new subclasses for wizard, the Chronergy and Graviturgy. Both are part of a new type of magic called Doudna Mansi. Doudna Mansi is a type of magical energy that is let off from luck, experience, time, gravity, stuff like that, that is released into the universe and never seen again, but the Doudna Mansi wizards can actually pluck that energy and use it for their spells. With the Chronergy school of magic, wizards learn how to bend time to a certain degree. Now, I'm not talking about reversing time, but rather speeding up or slowing it down, as well as knowing a bit of the future and being able to add your intelligence modifier to your initiative rolls. You can also freeze people in time and freeze your spells in a bead and launch them at a later date. With Graviturgy, you manipulate gravity and can force enemies and allies into certain positions, making the battlefield a huge game of chess, essentially. Wizard's sheer number of spells makes them powerful, so their subclasses won't be as mind-blowing, but these 2 are still really cool, and I love the idea of the Echo Knight. Additionally, we get tons of spells, all having to do with time and gravity. For example, there is one where the wizard creates a collapsing neutron star, using the gravity magic to collapse and crush their enemy. On the time side of things, you cast a spell on an enemy and cause them to age rapidly 30 days before they die. This means that they'll only have 30 days to live. Granted, the Hollow One, Verdant, and Warforged don't have a age of death. They kind of just live on until something kills them. So this spell is actually kind of hilarious if it hits one of them, because nothing really happens. And finally, we get to Matthew Mercer's signature onto Dungeons & Dragons, the legendary items called Vestiges of Divergence. These items come to players dormant and gain strength and new powers as the players wield them and grow as characters. If a Dungeon Master gives you one of these guys early on, that means that they really want to see you roleplay. As characters go through personal arcs, trauma, or anything else that is personal growth instead of just physical growth, the items grow in power. These items are all representative of gods, and their powers and abilities are clear markers of that. For example, one of these items is called the Mace of the Black Crown, and is for the followers of Asmodeus. Its powers are centered around fire and controlling lesser devils, similar to Asmodeus himself. These items are incredibly neat, but do have the problem being that the DM determines the power they have. So with a cruel DM, that could mean you never unlock their true potential. Or you're just waiting for the DM to get to your character arc, and maybe the party's in a hurry, and they just completely skip it. So they can be a bit fickle, to say the least. And since I'm on the topic of character development, this book also contains a great number of tables to really develop your backstory. This is like for your family, what your childhood friends were like, and if you have a rival out there in the world. This book even has ways to start adventures, one of which I've tried myself multiple times, and I've got to say, I love it. The adventures are pretty interesting, getting them introduced to the world and knowing what dangers lie in wait. And they can even lead to bigger and badder adventures, where they get to test their mettle and show off their skills. But overall, I love this book. It is a fantastic read, and I would highly recommend it to players and dungeon masters alike. The adventures are really fantastic. They can lead them to a larger adventure or just different places and events, and can just introduce the players to a new world to explore and have fun in. Overall, I love this book. I highly recommend it to dungeon masters and players alike.
Now it's your turn to roll.
But what do you guys think? Love this book or hate it? What subclass is your favorite? And what's your favorite magical item or even new spell? Why don't you let me know by tweeting me at ZTVGoofingOff, and be sure to use that all-important hashtag, Dungeon Delvers. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.